Hey guys, it's Allison. So today's video is going to be a August wrap-up video, and actually I'm pretty proud of myself this time because I read 8 books, and that has been more that I have read in a month this year, so that's an accomplishment. So we have entered halfway to my goal on Goodreads. My goal is to read 60 books in a year, and I read 31 books so far, so yay for me. So that was everything I needed to say in the intro, so we're gonna get straight into it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you like it, comment down below any videos you want me to do next, subscribe down below if you're new to my channel, and turn on post notifications to get an update every time I post a new video. Unless okay, so the first book that I read was on my Kindle, one of the Kindle Unlimited books, and I got this book called Don't Let Her Stay by Nicola Sanders, and it says, when someone inside your house wants you dead and no one believes you. It literally kept me on my toes. It was like so crazy. It has so many twists and turns. At the end of it, you thought it was one person, but then it was the other person, and I gave it a 4 stars. I don't remember why I gave it a 4 stars, just because it was the beginning of the month, but it was a pretty decent book. If I rated a 4 stars, is not bad. Like, it's a 4 to 5 star, you know, read. And it was crazy. It was chilling. It had like creepy vibes. I was getting chills when I was reading this, and I was just getting annoyed just for the fact that things were happening. I was like, just believe her already, like, you know, kind of thing. And it kind of reminded me kind of the book The Housemaids. If you guys ever read that book, I really recommend that book as well. So I got this recommendation off of TikTok from someone on TikTok. They were talking about this book, and I was like, let me get this book to see what it's all about. And if you guys don't know the basis of the book, it's basically this couple, they have a baby together, and the guy had a previous marriage, so he had a daughter with that woman. The girl wanted to come back, like send him a letter and was like, oh, I want to meet my new like baby sister or whatever, like, and they haven't had like so much communication for a while, so like, oh my goodness, my daughter wants to talk to me kind of thing. So he invites the daughter over, and like creepy things start to happen. Things happen, and it makes the woman, like the wife, look crazy. Got me annoyed because nobody believed her at all, and I was just like, oh. But that is like the creepy vibes to it. You're like, why is she being creepy this way? And then like obviously you learn why she's being that way at the end, like, and all this stuff. It's just so weird, but it was a really good book, so I definitely recommend that. So the next few books that I'm going to show you guys is from my 24-hour reading challenge, and I'll link it up below and down below as well if you guys haven't watched that. But this is the first book that I read in that challenge. It's Dark Corners by Megan Golden. This is one of the book of the months. It was a July book of the month. It says, she can't see you, what she fears the most. I picked up this book, I don't know, I was like in a thriller mood this month, and when I picked it up, I was all confused in the beginning, but then I got the hang of it because I didn't really know what it was about. Like, I had read the synopsis, but I completely forgot what it was about. I actually gave this book a 5 stars. It's hard to actually find a good 5-star thriller. I really enjoyed this book. It was about this girl. She was a podcaster, and the FBI needed her help to figure out like this girl that went missing. There was a serial killer in jail, and she had to speak to this serial killer, and then at the end it was a shocking twist. She never gave up. The FBI agent was like, you gotta go back home, sis, and she was like, nah, I need to help you guys, like, I gotta figure out this thing, like, I'm getting more information than you will ever will, kind of thing. So it was pretty interesting. She was a true crime podcaster. She has had solved like stuff before, so that's why I guess the FBI agents called her in, but also because her name was in a serial killer's mouth. Like, such crazy junk had happened in this book, and it was such a shocker at the end. Like, I was literally like, at the end of the book, I don't know, you guys gotta read it. You guys gotta pick up this book. If you guys like thrillers, gotta pick up this book. The next book that I'm gonna show you guys, I have not seen anybody talk about this book, which is so interesting because this is by Mia Sheridan, and she did Archer's Voice, and this book is called Graysons Vow. This was literally in Target, just there, and this lit my eye. It's like the 2 rings, but they're like shadowed into a heart. Archer's Voice and Say You Swear, like Archer's Voice, Say You Swear, my top 2 favorite romance books. So I was like, come on, let me see what Mia Sheridan can do, because Archer's Voice was amazing. So I read this book. This was a marriage of convenience, enemies to lovers. They were always fighting with each other. If you guys don't know the basis of this book, the girl doesn't want to take money from her father anymore. Like, she is done dealing with her father. Her father is just not it for her. For her to get her inheritance from her grandmother, she either has to get married or like something else. I don't remember what the other specific thing was. And so she was at the bank one day, and then she overheard this guy named Grayson not being able to get a loan because he was a felon. And she was like, oh, this is perfect. And she kind of fell in love with him like when she saw him. So she went to his house, made a proposition to him. He owned a vineyard and he didn't want to lose this vineyard. Proposition arises and it goes from there. But I gave this book 4.5 stars. I felt like he was immature compared to her. He was kind of older than her, so it was like how he acted towards her was not it. Sometimes it was just some things annoyed me about him that I was just like, why are you like this? Let her be, kind of thing. If you guys haven't read this book, definitely pick it up. I read Mirror Girls by Kelly McWilliams, and it says twins separated at birth, reunited by a curse. And this was historical fiction. So there was these twin sisters born in Georgia. Their father was white and their mother was black. When the twins were born, one of the twins was white passing. When their parents passed away, the grandmothers, well, the white grandmother wanted the white passing twin, and they wanted the other twin to go with the other grandma and like leave Georgia, kind of thing. So they were separated. One stayed in Georgia and the other one moved up to Harlem with her grandmother. A girl that moved to Harlem with her grandmother, she was coming back to Georgia when she was like 18 years old because her grandmother was slowly dying. So her grandmother wanted to be buried in Georgia. But I think the reason why the grandmother wanted her to go back was to find her twin sister. Her reunited by a curse is because it had like some ghost figures in it. I don't know. It was just interesting how she put this whole book together. But it was a really good book. I gave this book a 4-star read. I read it in a day. Like, I was really like blowing through this book. This is actually a pretty easy read. It has like a haunted kind of book. I don't know how to describe it. And the true meaning of this book, I felt like, was, I think the grandmother had said it, or somebody said it in the book. I don't remember who. But they said love is stronger than hate. I felt like it was trying to resolve the past for the present to be able to move on and stuff like that. That's how I felt with the ghost that would appear in the story. I liked the book because it brought you to a different time period. Like, I haven't read a historical fiction kind of thing, so this was pretty interesting. So I really recommend this book if you guys haven't read this already. And this was actually a really quick buy because I needed another book for this buy one get one 50% off, and this was just on the counter of Barnes and Nobles. I was checking out and then the guy was like, do you want this book? But like, as soon as I saw this book, I'm like, I'm gonna get this book. It's a good book. I recommend you guys to pick it up. So the next book that I read is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I gave this book a 4 stars. I read this book because I just read Malibu Rising last month. So I was like, let me pick this up to see what Carrie Soto is all about. And honestly, I thought they would have more of the guy that was in Malibu Rising, this book. But it was like literally like a chapter, or not even a chapter. It was like 1 or 2 pages talking about that relationship, and then it ended like that. And I was just like, I thought we were gonna get more, but it was fine. I really liked this book because she was very competitive. She did not take no for an answer. I love tennis, so like when I was reading this book, I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm getting so nervous when she was in her matches. I was like, she better win because I don't know what's gonna happen. Her father like literally dedicated his life for her to become like the best tennis player ever. And then I knew at the end, this is not really a spoiler because I said it in the other video, like I knew she was gonna become a coach at the end. Like, what else is she gonna do besides play tennis because she's over age already? Like, obviously become a coach. And I love that she became a coach at the end. This was a really good book. It's actually a really quick read, but I didn't read it in a day, but I did read it in like 2 days or something like that. So yeah, I don't know, I really like the vibes of this book. Oh yeah, I actually like the book too, I forgot to say, but they had like the little like posts from the magazines or like people talking on the radio about like the championships or whatever she was doing. So it was like transcripts of stuff. So it was a really good divider between all the chapters and stuff. And I liked how everything was, you know, like Soto versus Cortez, Australian Open, US Open, like all that. Like, I liked how everything was put into place and you didn't have to think too much, you know. And I do have the hardcover to this book. I actually bought this first, and I ended up picking the soft cover because I feel like hardcovers, when you look at it, you're like, oh my goodness, I have to read so much. But then when you pick up the soft cover, it's so much smaller, so much smaller. So I do have this copy as well. Next book I decided to read was The Last Word by Taylor Adams, and this was a thriller book. This was Ace Book of the Month that I didn't read until now, and I gave it a 4 stars. And this was about this woman. She was house sitting, and the house was like on a beach, and like she was secluded, and the only person she was able to talk to was like the neighbor, but the neighbor was like way far off, and they would talk through a telescope. And she would read books in this beach house, and in the beginning she comments like this really bad review on someone's book that they wrote, and little things start happening, like weird things start happening. So you're just like, wait, what's happening? But like in the beginning, like you already kind of know who it is in the beginning, like who is like coming after her, who's doing these like weird stuff like in the house. Weird things start to happen. The ending was kind of a shocker. It could have ended way sooner, but I like that it kept going because it gave context to the ending, you know what I mean? I gave this book, like I said, a 4 stars. It wasn't bad. It was pretty good. And I like the separation also. I think it has separation too. Yeah, it did have separation, like with the text. A good book of the month. But yeah, I've been picking up, for book of the months, I've been picking up thrillers. So I don't know, I've just been interested in thrillers. Like the book choices that they give, the thrillers always interest me. So yeah, don't have much to say about this book, but I feel like this is one of the only books, or like one of the few books that I have that is the guy is an author, like a man is an author, you know? I don't know why I had to say man, but yeah. So this was a good book. Pick it up if you guys haven't already. And the last 2 books that I read this month was part of a duology, and I had to pick this up. One of my friends, she's a YouTuber, she bumped into an author, and the author gave her the first book, and then when this book came out, she picked it up, and then she told me that it was really good, so I had to pick it up. I had to. So the first book is The Fang and the Flower by J.J. Wright, and let me just read you the back so I don't mess up anything. It says, the social outcast never dreamed the swoony bad boy was a were-tiger. Ooh, bad, a were-tiger. Chrissy hates the glowing eyes that lurked in every shadow for 2 years. She hates that no one believed they existed, and she hates that it destroyed her reputation. The popular bad boy reveals it has been him all along. She decides she hates him too, even after she learns he's the most powerful were-tiger in existence, and she's his fated mate. Julian is an ultra-rare white saber-toothed were-tiger born to keep his planet from destroying the human race, but he can't do it without Chrissy. He must spend senior year trying to turn his human mate from enemy to lover. If she rejects him, their mate bond will kill him, and a faction of were-tigers will succeed in destroying humankind. So my camera decided to not have space, so I had to delete some stuff, so I'm going to keep reading. It says, will Chrissy fall in love with Julian and agree to follow him into battle? Will Julian lead a successful coup against a faction of rebel were-tigers? Will he prove there's more to his affections than the mate bond before it's too late? If you like captivating dialogue, touch her and die attitude from a morally gray love interest and slow burn, you'll tear through this book faster than Julian tears through his enemies. Ooh, I didn't actually read the back, so that was a pretty good synopsis. And I gave this book a 4.5 stars, and I actually read this in a day. Like I was tearing through this book, like the back says. It was really good, and I really enjoyed it. I liked the premise of the book. The other book is The Pain and the Power by J.J. Wright, the second book, and it says, when the hero will burn down the world for love, the villain is never who it seems. Second book, I gave the second book a 4 stars. I didn't really get interested actually until like it mentioned bloodlust, and that's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to like spoil anything, but it got interesting after that. So like maybe a couple chapters into the book, I feel like the second book had to like set the scene of where they started to live, so it didn't really get interested until a couple chapters in, but it was still a good book. This is really good duology, and I would really recommend duology. I don't like that the books are different, but it's okay. Really recommend all these books. So yeah, that was all the books that I read. I'm gonna try to grab these books and show you guys all the books. Gotta do a thumbnail too, but that's just besides the point. So I'm just gonna show you guys all the books here that I read. I'm really proud of myself this month. I wish I read 2 more books, but I don't think that's gonna happen because what I'm reading right now is a biggie. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's right here behind me. I'm currently reading A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J Maas, and this is like a 700-page book. So this is probably will last me until like maybe the beginning of September, depending on how fast I'm going to read that. So yeah, that really scares me, but I have to finish the series. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.